to infuse the...
Hello, and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland Show. My name is Renata von Tscharner. I'm the founder and president of the Charles River Conservancy. And we're going to talk about part of the Charles River and the parkland that is at the very heart of it. And actually, I think it's the oldest part and oldest building on the Charles. We're going to talk about Magazine Beach. And we have the expert here to talk about it. Welcome, Cathie Zusy.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So Magazine Beach is well known in Cambridge, and Magazine Beach is at just on this inside curve just before we come to the area of the Charles where it's flatter, becomes really like a lake, and it is the part right here, Magazine Beach, a wonderful place. So Cathie Zusy is chair of the Magazine Beach committee of the Cambridgeport Neighborhood Association, has been working on this area since 2010. Which might seem like a long time for you, but in terms of getting things done, stick to it and things will get done. And knowing you have accomplished a lot already. So give us a little bit of an overview of this lovely green area in the middle of the city.
Okay. This actually is an aerial view that the head of the Historic Commission, Charlie Sullivan, took a couple of years ago. You can see this is Cambridge's second largest park. It's only smaller than Daintree Park, and it's an important resource for the city. To the westernmost side, closest to us, you can see the Riverside Boat Club, which is the last remaining working man's boat club on the Charles River. It was started by printers of the Riverside Press. That was a fine arts and crafts press, which was originally at the location of what we call Riverside Park today. And today it is the home of recreational rowers and Olympic and world-class rowers. So it's an extraordinary club right there at our park.
But I understand also sometimes young people there. I remember a day when you had an open house and young people could explore.
Yes, absolutely. They have a Learn to Row event every year, and they also have rowers from Brookline High rowing there, and rowers from Simmons College.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a wonderful place, and they've been fabulous partners with us at the park.
Yeah.
As you look a little,
Wait, let me get back to this bit.
As you look a little further up the river, you can see.
Down the river.
Or down the river.
Down
you
the
can see
river.
the swimming pool, and you can see a building there, which is where there was a Powder Magazine, which is the oldest building in the Charles River Basin, built in 1818. Then you see some playing fields, and just next to the Beatty Bridge, there is the Cottage Farm combined sewer overflow facility. So it's a place where, when there's a big storm, water rushes into it, and it's treated before it's sent out to defile to make sure the river is clean.
Mm-hmm. And Cathie, you have been involved with that, and you have been great in pulling all the various groups together. The Riverside Boat Club, the Charles River Conservancy, MWRA, the City of Cambridge, the State of Massachusetts, because officially on DCR, on state land, and there is partnership with the city. So you have been great in putting all the people together. So tell us who have been the other partners, who have been the elected officials who have been most involved in that.
Wow, we had so many, and together we're making change. Our state senator Anthony Petruselli and our state representative Jay Livingston have been great champions of the whole Charles River parks, all the Charles River parks. But they've really encouraged progress at Magazine Beach. Commissioner Jack Murray at DCR has been fabulous. You know, thanks to him and Teresa who oversees historic properties for DCR. Magazine got a new roof this last summer.
Yeah, we'll see pictures of that. Yeah.
So that's really thrilling. The city council and the CCA committee given us money that DCR has matched to move forward with projects at the park.
But all of that would not happen without somebody constantly asking, begging, reminding, and you have been an absolute amazing steward for that. So thank you, and Cambridge should thank you, and I think Cambridge has thanked you and will thank you more for that.
Yeah, thank you, Renata.
And it's also a pleasure to work on that site. As you can see, it's quite a bit of big green space, and you have often worked with Conservancy volunteers. We have our volunteer coordinator there working with you and people from the neighborhood and students and businesses. So that has been a wonderful partnership as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been essential to maintaining the park because DCR is an underfunded agency, and it just doesn't have the resources to do all the work that we would like at the park. So yeah. I'm incredibly grateful to the Charles River Conservancy. I also want to put in a plug for the Magazine Beach Committee of the Cambridgeport Neighborhood Association. It's not just me, it's a whole committee of extraordinary volunteers with many, many talents that have been working very hard to move the project forward.
Now let's, you have a picture here of how people, most people are familiar with the pool at Magazine Beach. When was that built? And tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, that's such a great question. The pool was built in 1950 and opened in 1951, and it was created because all the river swimming beaches were closed in 1949 because people began to realize how polluted they were.
It's not that they were clean before, it was just the awareness had changed.
Right, yeah, so it was awareness, but it's the only Olympic-size pool on the Charles River, and it's free. And it's open from usually the end of June to mid-August every year, and it's a great resource for Cambridge and beyond.
And it's so popular, sometimes there are lines outside to get in, yes.
It's also a very popular picnicking spot, especially on summer weekends and on holiday weekends. And so people come with their families. If you want to feel good about the American family, go to Magazine Beach because you'll see generations of often African American and Latino families there picnicking. Often there'll be 30, 40, 50 people. Everyone brings a dish. They play volleyball, they play croquet, they play badminton. And people have a great time at the park. When they're not in the pool, they're gathering around tables, talking to each other, and just enjoying the breeze from the river.
And recently, you and I were at the meeting of DCR talking about a spray deck, because there was a kiddie pool that has been closed, and now you want to add a spray deck, which I think is a great idea.
Yes, and we're just thrilled that DCR is thinking about replacing the wading pool with a new water feature for kids. And there was a meeting a couple weeks ago about sort of what the proper location would be for the deck. So that we're still sorting out. It may be at the current location of the wading pool, but many people think that's too shady and sort of dirty because of all the leaves from the trees surrounding the pool. Some people think it should be closer to the fields. And some people think it should be closer to the swimming pool, where the diving pool once was, beside the swimming pool. So we'll figure that out in the next couple of months.
Great. And there are also wonderful natural areas. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Well, we're looking at wildflowers in one of the swales, one of the best management practice swales next to and between the soccer fields. So the idea of when DCR put these in 2009, the idea was that if there were phosphates used fertilizers to fertilize the soccer fields, that the fertilizers would go into the swales and filter out of the water before the water went back into the Charles River. Again, we want to keep that river clean. We want to go swimming in that river, Renata.
Exactly, absolutely. Well, many people associate swimming in the Charles with Magazine Beach, and eventually we'll get there and we'll see a picture of that.
It's also a place where people go to run, to walk their dog, to be alone, to play the guitar, to feed the geese, to read a book.
Although feeding the geese is not a recommended activity because it encourages the geese to depend on humans, and it's quite dangerous actually. So It's not recommended to feed the geese.
Okay.
So this is the wonderful powder house, which is here shown with a new roof. What a change that is. Tell us about this powder house.
We're so thrilled. This took 3 years. It took us 3 years to get a new roof on that powder magazine. And again, it happened because of the city and the state and the community all working together. So we've got a new slate roof. This building is the oldest building on the Charles River Basin. It used to store gunpowder for ships in Boston Harbor, and also for merchants selling gunpowder. Later, the Olmsted brothers, the sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, converted it into a bathhouse for men and boys. It was where they could change to go swimming in the river, because you'd have 60,000 people swimming in the Charles River every summer, from about 1900 to about 1912. Well, you actually had many people swimming straight through 1949. There were at least 4,000 people swimming there every year in 1949. It was the most active swimming beach on the river.
Yeah, yeah. And on your website, magazinebeach.org,
yes,
there is a film about the history of this magazine beach. So that is of the magazine beach and also of the building.
Yes, and we're so thankful. This effort is really a community effort of professional volunteers donating their time and talents to fix something that should be fixed, yes, right? Yes. And I'm especially grateful to Marilyn Wellens and Nina Cohen, who did the bulk of the research about Magazine Beach. Nina is really the powder magazine expert, and she found the original bills for the erection of the powder magazine. And we know a lot about Peter Tufts and Charles Tufts from her research. And then I'm so thankful to Marilyn Wellens, who's done a lot of research on the site itself. Magazine Beach, it was originally an island called Captain's Island, and it was given to Captain Daniel Patrick, who was a mercenary in 1636. It's got a very long history. And then it was the Olmsted brothers who sort of filled in the land, the marshes around the island, to make it one contiguous piece of land and a parkland for the city of Cambridge. And this park once belonged to the city of Cambridge. It was originally owned by the city of Cambridge. It was to be a playground for the young and a breathing space. The city fathers were concerned with the city becoming a more
industry.
There
was a lot of industry around here.
There was a lot of industry, and a lot of the workers lived in Cambridgeport. And they needed a place to get away from it all and relax. And
we still need that today.
Yeah, we do, but there wasn't air conditioning then, so it was really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first step. This is triumvirate, removing all the stuff that was in the magazine in December of 2013. This was the first step to making improvements at the powder magazine, clearing it out. And here you can see it empty. Of course, it's full of water because there were so many holes in the roof. So no more puddles in the magazine now.
And it's all restored. And what's the next stage for the building?
The next stage is, thanks to legislation that Senator Petroselli and Representative Livingstone introduced this last year that just was signed by the governor in August, it has joined DCR's historic curatorship program. So some lucky person is going to get an extended long-term lease to this property in exchange for converting it to its next use. So, maybe it'll become a concession, maybe it'll become a meeting space, maybe it'll become a rental at night, maybe it'll become a vital community center. I hope arts will be involved in some way.
Yeah, you've brought the arts there. I remember the women with their feathers, all dressed in white, cleaning the building. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's in that video. That's on YouTube, actually. You could find images of that. A show I did with Jason Weeks of the Arts Council. And also Ross Miller demarked the island, Captain's Island, and the walls. So if you Google Magazine Beach, you find quite a few YouTubes about it.
Right.
And you bring in the arts to Magazine Beach now, and activity, all kind of programming.
This summer, thanks to Sanofi, who was our corporate sponsor for the summer, and thanks to the Charles River Conservancy and Knucklebones and the Arts Council, we had yoga, we had 3 concerts, we had food trucks, we had bread and puppet circus, we had a dance troupe come and perform for children. We had all sorts of activities, and it was a wonderful opportunity to really workshop the space and see, you know, what did people like? What was there an audience for? What was there what was there not an audience for? Or what did we need to market better? And where did this activity want to happen? So we really worked on that. We feel strongly that bringing the arts to the park will be essential to it continuing to be a vital place. Artists often are out-of-the-box thinkers, and they bring magic to places. So we hope they'll be an integral part of the sort of planning vision team going forward at the park.
Yeah, we also recently did a show here on this program with Ross Miller about the competition for public art, which brought some interesting ideas to Magazine Beach.
Yeah, Common Boston brought their Common Build. They brought some artists who did a 72-hour design build at Magazine Beach, and then their artwork was up for a week. Nothing was vandalized, everything. People loved having the art. It just added more new energy to the space.
Yeah. And now, moving forward, tell us what the plans are.
Okay, well, the big excitement is that the Cambridge, again, for the 3rd time, has dedicated CPA funds.
CPA
is Community Preservation Act funds. It's money from when we pay our taxes, some of the money goes towards open space, public housing, and historic preservation efforts. And the money for Magazine Beach has always come from historic preservation funds. But we're, thanks to those funds that were matched by DCR, again for the 3rd time, we will be determining the future of the western part of the park in 2013. And that means we'll be figuring out what the landscaping will be, what the paths will be, what the water feature will be for children, what sort of climbing activity there'll be for children, all from the sort of the playing fields to the Riverside Boat Club. All of that area will be receiving attention in the next couple of years. So this, probably January, the public process will reopen, and we'll start talking about it as a community, what we imagine, what we envision for the park, and then all we have to do is raise the money to make it happen.
But you're doing exactly the right thing. You need to create the vision, you create the excitement, you have events there, so people get used that this is a lively place, it's a fun place, it's beautiful. So I think you've come an enormously long way.
Well,
and you having something coming up, an exhibition coming up.
Yes, in November 3rd, 2014, our exhibition opened at Cambridge Arts at Gallery 344. The show will be up. It's an exhibition called Magazine Beach, A Place Apart, because it's always been a place apart. It was an island. Again, it's often sort of a refuge. It's where people go to get away from it all, but still to be in the city.
And is this a space in the City Hall Annex on Broadway?
Yes, it's at 344 Broadway, and it's open during City Hall Annex sort of hours. So it's open on Monday nights until 8 o'clock. Other days it's open just until 5. It's free. And it's an opportunity to sort of learn about Magazine Beach, but not just about Magazine Beach. It really talks about how we make decisions about public space.
So if I was a reporter, I would ask you, what's the purpose of the exhibition? What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, we hope to engage people in the planning process going forward. We hope to, there are different areas where people can give us their ideas for what they dream about for the part. And also we want them to sort of name and share stories of favorite aspects of the park, because designers often take that meaning and do things with it. Yeah.
So the exhibition is up, so it has a lot of historic information already there. And you say it also, there's a place where people can leave notes of how they experience the space and what they would like to see there.
Absolutely, and there's a fabulous film that Fred Woods made for the exhibition. The show's organized in, it talks about strategic, remote, and secure, about why things have been placed there, really because of its location on the river, because it's remote. And it talks about the Powder Magazine and the Cottage Farm combined sewer overflow facility there. Then it talks about the river and industry and how industry brought people to the river and to Cambridge, and many of those people became rowers. That's why there were all these rowing clubs on the river that cropped up in the 1850s and 60s and 70s. And then it talks about swimming at Magazine Beach, very, very popular destination. And then it talks about the pollution that resulted from the river. So again, the river brought some prosperity, it brought an increase in population, and it brought the park, but it also polluted the river. And then in this section of the exhibit called Plans and Visions, it talks about how forever, whenever there's public space, people always have ideas about how to develop it. Over the course of time, people have wanted to build a stadium at Magazine Beach. They wanted to build a hospital at Magazine Beach. They wanted to build an army lab at the park. And they wanted to build another big boat club at the park. And they wanted to build a highway through the park. So public land is always vulnerable to development. But we have many good ideas about how to go forward with the park. So we sort of share some of those ideas here, including a new plan. This is a design by Dennis Carlone of a swimming beach at Magazine Beach. Dennis Carlone is a city councilor, an architect, an urban planner, and I know a staunch advocate of your work at the Charles River Conservancy. But he created here just an idea to get people thinking about what it would be like to swim again in the Charles at the park. Again, at the turn of the 19th century, you'd have 60,000 people swimming there each summer. You had arc lamps in the water. You had water carnivals for the people.
I understand they even had lights so that you could swim into the night.
Yeah.
They had a laundry facility so that the towels and the bathing suits could be washed for the next day. So this was a very popular place. And let's just look at it a little bit in more detail. It might be a bit hard to see because there's so much information. So there is what's this now, the slopey, grassy part would be kind of become the beach, the sandy beach, and then you would have the option to swim in the river, as well as in the fenced-in Olympic-sized pool.
Right.
So you have both options, because unfortunately there are some days where swimming right now is not possible, but most days swimming is possible. The river got the A+. Mm-hmm. And I'm delighted that you're thinking of incorporating swimming, because the Swimmable Charles is a very important project of the Charles River Conservancy. And former Cambridge Mayor Alice Wolfe and state legislator, she helped to pass legislation to establish the Swimmable Charles Commission, and has worked with us. And Jay Livingstone continues now that work. And so we hope to have more ideas of where to swim, and this is obviously a great location. It will need some dredging before we can swim as it is proposed here because of sediments, but it's nothing like putting an image out there to stimulate the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And people want to engage with the river. When at the head of the Charles they put some docks out. And everybody was drawn to the river's edge. Everybody wants to be on the dock. They want to put their feet in the water. They shouldn't be putting their feet on the sediments, as you said. We'll need to encapsulate the bottom if it becomes a swimming beach again. But people want to engage with the river again. And as we studied the history of the site, it was all about engaging with the river in the 1600s with the marshes and the oysters and boats coming up the river. And then once people realized how polluted the water was and there was a polio scare, you know, we really retreated from the river. And so we need to encourage access with the river again and ensure that the river becomes a safe place for swimming all of the time. And not just for us, but for the fish, for the wildlife. One of the things that's happening, and you can see it at Magazine Beach now, is, you know, you can see many more red-tailed hawks, you can see black herons, you can see rabbits, you can see, you know, fish jumping in the water early, you know, going upstream. You can see much more activity. As the Charles River is restored as a healthy place, we're going to see much more flora and fauna in this wild place.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Cathie, for your work, for your advocacy. This is wonderful to see this place come back to life. And if you just joined us, you can find this show on YouTube, on the Charles River Conservancy or Magazine Beach. So go and find out more about this wonderful project. It's magazinebeach.org, gives you the information. And if you want to find out more about the Charles River Conservancy, here is the contact information. So I hope that everybody will visit Magazine Beach, and I know you will bring this to a great success. Thank you so much, Cathie, for coming today.
Renata, thank you for inviting me to join you, and thanks for all your support.